Welcome to FBB Forum. If you like this content, please be sure to like and subscribe to the FBB Forum YouTube and Instagram pages. I'm very pleased to welcome the amazing IFBB Pro women's physique athlete Nicole Sanchez to the podcast. Nicole got married recently, so under the last name of Washington, Nicole won the overall title at NPC Nationals in 2022, and will make her pro debut soon. It looks like maybe in 2025. She's also a personal trainer and lives in San Francisco. Nicole has a phenomenal physique and lots of beauty. And please stay tuned to find out more about her and her future plans. But welcome, Nicole. It's great to see you.
It's great to be here. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So my first few questions are about how you got started in bodybuilding, and I was wondering if you had an athletic or a sports background before you started.
Yes, I was an athlete my entire life. I've done ballet, I've done swimming, I did marching band. I did a teeny bit of track, but I was too lazy. But my main sports were swimming and marching band. So yes, I've always been active my whole life.
That's terrific. Yeah. I bet swimming probably gave you a good kind of base for shoulders and back and everything. Yeah.
Yep, only upper body. I did not kick at all. I didn't use my legs. So as a consequence, now I have like giant shoulders just because I only use my arms for swimming, and I'm not sure why. um but
Oh,
that was kind of my thing, my arms. So
that's not a bad thing though. Can build up your upper body early in life. Yeah, that's cool. What did you play in marching band?
I played clarinet. So I was the section leader my senior year. And we had like a really big band, so we were always practicing. And the cool thing that our band director did was, at our school, if we had certain after school activities, and if they were classified as a sport, we had a cap on the number of hours we could rehearse. So
Hmm.
the reason we were good was because our band director fought really hard to keep us as an after school activity and not a sport, so we
Oh.
practice more. And I think that really paid off because we are pretty good.
That's awesome. I was gonna thought you were gonna say tuba because you'd be like lifting, lifting the no tuba bigger than you maybe.
Yeah, yeah. I tried. I actually tried. I put one on and I fell over, and I was like, nope. So
Oh man, that's awesome though.
thank
Now,
you.
how did you get started in bodybuilding and who convinced you to do your first contest?
I was working at a UFC in Sunnyvale. That's like south of San Francisco. And I had a friend who was a power lifter. So like a week before I developed an interest in bodybuilding, he taught me how to deadlift. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. Like you can lift weights, like, and you don't have to do cardio. I'm in. And then I got the job at the gym, and I saw a figure competitor there, and she was like jacked, and I was like, oh my god, who is that? So her name is Sarah Drake, and she's the baby Drake on Instagram. Hi, if you're watching this. um but yeah, I saw her, and then I just followed her around the gym, and I was like, I need to do what she's doing because I didn't know women could like look this muscular, and she looked amazing. She still looks amazing. But yeah, I followed her around and I copied her routine until finally she was like, what do you want? Like, are you trying to compete? And I was like, yes. I don't know what you're doing, but I want to do it. And she was kind enough to give me a training session where she said, you could be really good at this, but you need to take your diet seriously and you need to do cardio. And at the time, I was like not serious. I wasn't like prepared for the amount of commitment. So I was like, oh, sure, I can do that. And I tried and I failed. But it took me around, let's see, that was, I don't remember what year, but it was like 6 or 7 years. Um, and then in 2019, during the pandemic, we were locked down here in California. So I had nothing to do other than get fit. So I started running, and then I was like, all right, well, if I'm fit, I might as well prepare for a show. So I'd been thinking about that for years. So I guess the pandemic kind of springboarded me into the scene, like for real.
Really? That's interesting. That's really cool. Yeah. Where were you able to train? Like at home or did you find folks with a home gym?
I had a home gym. I had a squat rack, but it's actually kind of cold here in the Bay Area. So during the time when like the like March to whenever, um, I had my home gym, but then there was a gym in San Francisco, and it was the only gym that was open, and they had an outdoor area. So I would get up at
Mm.
3 to get there by 5 and train. So I
Wow.
am, and I started doing more research about how to train like a bodybuilder, and I fell more and more in love with it. And I was like, well, yeah, I'm definitely gonna do a show. I don't care like when. It's gonna happen. So
Wow. Was it cold to train outside like that though? Boy, that must
I
have
was
been rough.
I was freezing the whole time, but having it be cold, it actually helped me to like keep moving. So I kept moving. And the work and those are some of my best workouts because I was freezing. So I was like, all right, I have to get my heart rate up so I can get warm. So
I
yeah.
see. That's cool. That actually, so that worked out pretty good for you to have the
Oh
COVID kind of motivated you. Yeah.
yeah, because before I was working some dead end retail job, and like it was dead end, but you know retail jobs, they take up so much of your time and you have nothing, you can't do anything else other than the dead end retail job. And I was
Yeah.
just sad. And then when they closed our store and then they laid me off, and I was like, oh well, what am I gonna do now? Except like exercise. And then I just had so much time so I could exercise. So
Oh, that's cool. That's very cool, actually. That worked out good for you. Yeah.
yeah.
I was curious if do you have a fitness role model that you look up to or that you really particularly like?
Yes, I have two, one male, one female. I look up to Dorian Yates. He's the shadow. He,
Yeah.
the thing I love his physique. He's like freakish. But the thing I liked about him was that he would just show up. You didn't know he was coming. Like people, and then you just heard of him just because he was in the show. And people would be like, who's this freak who keeps showing up? And I like that he didn't care about social media. Not that there was social media. He didn't care
Yeah.
art. He was like just in the dungeon training. And that work ethic that really appeals to me. I'm not really like big on social media because obviously people can't find me. So I believe in just you'll see me when you get there. Like when you see me, you'll know. So
Okay, cool.
my female role model is Dana Lynn Bailey because she was the
Oh,
physique athlete, and her routine with Kai Green. Oh, Kai Green also. Yeah, sorry, I have two males. Kai Green is my other role model. He actually one of his posing routines. I was like, oh my god, I didn't know he could do that. It was the one in Prague where he did the headstand, and I was
oh
like,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, my favorite one. And he was kind enough to look over my posing routine when I went to nationals. So it was,
Cool.
yeah, it was really cool to like meet him. Yeah, so Dana and Kai, when they did uh their couples posing, like that was another thing where I was like, oh my god, I must do this. I need to do what they're doing. This is amazing. So yeah, those three.
That's great. Yeah, Kai seems like a really nice guy and he definitely takes male posing to another level. He just is
Yeah,
so good at it. And Dana Lynn Bailey, she's probably the number one person mentioned on the podcast here because people just look up to her and she's the OG,
yeah.
with Miss Physique, so yeah, she's really amazing.
Yeah, yeah, Kai. I haven't met Dana yet, but Kai, he's so sweet. He will it doesn't matter who you are, he will take time to talk to you. And
Mm.
that humility also really appeals to me. I don't believe in like, oh, I'm famous, don't talk to me. Like, talk to your fans. Like,
Yeah,
hard. So,
I agree. I like his ponytail. That ponytail is crazy. It's kind of
yeah.
oh
Yeah.
man. Now, I was curious, was it tough for you to get up on stage in a bikini for the first time? Was it kind of nerve-wracking, or were you nervous when you
No,
first competed?
no. I also have a classical music performance background, so I played in piano competitions. I did clarinet competitions. I'm used to being on stage. Um, and I'm also with swimming. It's basically a swimsuit with
Yeah.
rhinestones on it. So the only thing that I was nervous about was my posing because I used a mirror the entire time I practiced my routine, and then I didn't have the mirror when I was on stage, and I was like, wait, am I backwards? So it kind of that messed with my head. But like, no, I like being on stage. It's fun. It's where you get to show like what you've created.
Mm.
So I love it, and I miss being on stage. So taking 3 years off has been like, yeah, I'm excited to go back.
No, that's great. I'm excited for you to do your pro debut. I think you're going to look great up there. And um, now in terms of earning your pro card at NPC Nationals in 2022, and of course, like I mentioned, you won Class A and the overall title. But what was that feeling like? What was that feeling like? And was I bet it was exciting to beat out the other bigger class winners too.
You know, it that was the best day of my life, like as an adult. Um, I didn't really think about the other girls. I just wanted to show my work. I don't bodybuilding is so small that I don't think of it as a competition. So like backstage, like people were nervous, but I was just so excited to be there and so excited to be around other women who like had the same interest. Because here in the Bay, like I'm I think well, there's like one other women's physique athlete too. One or two, but we're very hard to find. So
Yeah.
I went backstage, I was like, oh my God, they're everywhere. So I talked to people, and other folks were nervous, but I think once we all started talking, the the love we had for each other and just the like excitement, we're like, yeah, you look great, you're gonna be great, you're gonna do great. So I didn't think of it like competitively, if that makes sense. I was happy to be there.
I totally understand that, and I call it kind of like an iron sisterhood at
Yeah.
nationals. And yeah, so you had a good experience backstage with the ladies and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Taysir, I think you know her, Taysir Orta. I'm not sure,
yeah,
but yeah,
that's right. Yeah, she's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah,
great. She's so like fiery. I love her. I met her. I met Candace Walton. I think she was the class D overall winner. She was very nice. Um, Stacy Burr, she was in my class, I believe. All the class A ladies, like we really got to talking because we had to wait together. So what else were we gonna do?
yeah.
But nobody was like mean. I've heard about people being mean to each other at nationals. But I also think that if you bring the happiness, you will find the happiness.
Mm,
You're nervous and there's stress going on, you will bring that and it will come to you. So
yeah.
if I have any advice for like women who are competing in nationals or are aspiring to be in nationals, be happy. Like make sure that when you are backstage and on stage, you are not thinking about anything else except your routine and how hard you've worked, because like especially we're all depleted, we're all starving. So like being negative, it really like permeates if
Yeah,
somebody's so, but yeah, so I didn't experience any negativity though. So yeah.
that's great. No, I think that's terrific. And I totally, yeah, like that kind of bad energy kind of translates into bad results, but if you have the positive energy, I think that's, yeah, I totally understand that. And I get that too. That's good
Yeah.
advice too.
Yeah. Well, I feel that there's I understand the ethos of, oh, go to war, suffer, like do all this, but it's not bodybuilding's not like that. I don't think it's like that. But it's an elevation of your body and your mind and your soul. Like you
Hmm.
can't be in this sport and not improve yourself. Or
Yeah.
like in some way you'll improve physically, you will improve mentally, and you'll improve your soul because you're focusing on these healthy habits that will cleanse you of just BS that other people bring to you. So
Yeah.
don't agree. I don't believe in suffering. Like, yeah, it's suffering, but it's joyful suffering. You're shaping yourself into something that you've always wanted to be, and that should be cause for celebration always, always.
Yeah. I love that. I think that's great. No, I agree with you on that. And it's such a niche sport, for these women to get together, once or twice a year, and
Mhm.
you're so unique and but have the commonality. So yeah, you should celebrate that, I think.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
yeah believe that.
And I think, well, when do you plan on making your pro debut, or do you know where yet?
It'll probably be the Atlanta Pro, which is August 15th, I think, or the Arizona Pro, which is September 13th. So either one of those, Probably Arizona. I like Arizona. I like Wings of Strength. They kind of cater to us, and like I like that. So it'll probably be Arizona.
It's closer for you too. That'd be nice to have it closer. Yeah. And I think that's an all women show too. I haven't been to that show, but I'd love to go sometime. But yeah,
Yeah, women's physique, women's bodybuilding, and I think figure, but it's for the bigger division. So I think the Wings of Strength, they specifically like that show is for us, that one, and then um the
Triple O.
yes, that one.
Yeah.
On my list, I'm not like it's a little early for my like prep cycle, but maybe 2026 I'll do that show because I really want to do that show since we don't have the Arnold anymore. So
Well, there was some bad news on Triple O though. They actually dropped women's physique. I was like,
okay.
which is
All
really
right.
disappointing. I was like, oh, I can't believe they did that. But yeah, just disappointing
Oh,
on them.
oh man, thank you for telling me. Actually, I didn't see it on the now that I'm thinking about it, I didn't see it on the schedule. It didn't.
Mhm.
You said that. Oh, well, all right.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I went to it the first one last year, the first edition of it, and it was a great show, but yeah, just yeah. So I think it was maybe a money decision, but yeah, still kind
Yeah,
of disappointing.
that's what they do. They were like, "Oh, we can't justify the cost," and I was like, "All right, all right."
Yeah, I don't know. I just like it's kind of sketchy.
No, I
Now, that's actually my next question is like, unfortunately, some promoters have dropped women's physique from pro shows recently. And I was thinking about Legion Sports Fest because that's probably the closest show for you. But
yeah.
how do you
Mhm.
think we can get more promoters to support the vision?
Um.
Put you
mm,
on the spot.
Well, I've thought about this a lot actually because I was saying earlier, I think that our category doesn't get as much visibility. But what that takes is ad dollars. Like you need to invest in us in order to get the return. So
Yeah.
I don't agree with this decision. Um, and also like why are you taking the categories out? Like, yes, you can't justify the cost, but like isn't don't you want this category? Like, I don't know. I have some questions. And one of the questions I have is like, do you even want this category here? Because you're not acting like it. And
Mhm.
get more people into the sport and get more return is to give us more visibility. Like
Yeah.
always highlighting bikini. Like, sure, it's accessible, but what about the women whose body type are they don't fit in bikini? Like me, I never
Uh-huh.
thought about doing bikini. Like, I was like, hell no, I'm not skinny. Um,
Yeah.
and then I originally wanted to do figure, but I can't do the heels. And there's so many women who I know who are like, yeah, I would, but the heels. And I'm like, no, there's a cat. You, it's mine. Like you have to be a little more muscular, but actually you kind of don't. Like it just depends on what part of the country you're in. Florida,
Yeah.
like the bigger girls out west, they like a slimmer look. So
Uh-huh.
like there's and the great thing about women's physique is that it's one of those categories where like if you don't fit with the heels, it's there's a category for you. Like,
Yeah.
and so you're just gonna take that away from these women who want to be muscular but don't want to be like glammed up like that. Like, I don't think that's right. So, and
Yeah.
I think it's a similar argument to like, oh, nobody watches women's sports. Why don't they watch women's sports? Because there's no advertising. If
Mm.
if there were more advertising for it, I think people would watch it. And like America, we're so good at brainwashing people into wanting things they don't want. So like it's through advertising. So
Mhm.
you
Yeah,
can't
that's
really
true.
make you can't make that argument that there's nobody to watch it and then have like ads for stuff we don't need that people are convinced that they need now because of the ads. Does that make sense?
It does,
Yeah.
yeah. I actually saw an interesting documentary on Netflix called Buy Now that talks
Yeah.
about that, and it
Yeah.
was really good, talking about why we buy stuff we don't need and why we're obsessed with shopping when yeah, and you're totally right about that. I agree. Um and I just like women's physique because y'all do get to do the flex and as a fan, I think it's just more interesting to see the flex and you get to it's a little more artistic because you get to do your posing routine and yeah,
Mhm.
like whereas the heel divisions are just a little bit too rigid and not, I don't know, they're just a little bit boring in my opinion too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you know Nicole Graham. Her handle is World of Zenobia, but she was
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and she got creative with the posing, and they did not like it. At least that was the impression I got because she did one routine. It was fantastic. She did some of the European poses, like she did some bikini, and it was so interesting. But then her next routine was just the quarter turns, and I was like, oh, they definitely were like, don't do that. So like
Huh.
I just the and even the heel divisions could have more creativity if it was allowed. So
Yeah, I know. I agree with you on that. Yeah. No, I know. And yeah, over in Europe, the ladies that wear heels do get to flex too. And
yeah, yeah,
yeah, so
they have a look over there. So
yeah, that's true. It's definitely different there. Yeah. Um, I was curious with the nationals and some of your other shows, have the judges given you any feedback on where you need to improve your physique or your presentation?
yes, not presentation, but physique. I need to um get a bigger back and just bigger posterior chain in general. Like I'm really good from the front, but most people are good from the front. It's the back where the show is won. So I have a good back. I just need more muscle. And I need to develop my glutes and hams more, which is something like I've known for years. And I've been working on it, but I'm hoping that with my pro debut, they'll see some changes because I've really, really been working on it. So
How about like wider lats too? Did they,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, more like lower lat because I think most people they get like the teres in the mid lat, but it's that lower lat where it's like it makes your back like round.
Uh-huh.
They're not looking for like overly developed like in bodybuilding, but they're looking for, some back. So, and that's something that I can work on and I like training back, so no problem.
Terrific. That's very cool.
Mhm.
Um, I was curious, what do you think is your best muscle group and which muscle group do you think needs the most improvement?
My best muscle group is my quads, definitely. But the quads are genetic. So I like don't train them because if I do train them, then they very, very quickly overpower everything else and then I have to get bigger. So I don't really train quads much because I just grow muscle there like very quickly. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, my worst body part is probably my hams. Like
Oh,
they're
yeah.
yeah, they're not really there. They're really hard to develop. So I've had to experiment with different training styles in order to really get them to pop. So the way I train hams is very specific to me because that's what I found gets results. So like I don't recommend it for like most people. So
Okay. No, I understand. Yeah. And yeah, if it really does depend on genetics, I think too,
yes. Oh
yeah. I like your abs too. I think your abs are really good.
yeah, I've been working on those too.
Now do you have a prep coach you're working with?
Yes. His name is Kelvin Jardaleza. And he runs what is called Team Phase Two. So it's like a bodybuilding team out here in the Bay. And I love the team. Everybody's like a little younger. I think I'm his only pro, but the cool thing is like everybody works hard and everybody has a good foundation. I find that some people who are older, they have bad habits that need breaking. And but he makes sure to take care of all of his athletes and really like emphasize to them you need to be consistent. Like consistency is what builds the muscle. You just have to keep doing it in and out day and day. Keep going. So everybody works hard on my team. Like we win um the we had Battle of the Bay like last week, and two of our athletes got first place in all their categories. And all of us, we love the sport. We don't love the like content aspect. We love training. So that's
Yeah,
why I love the team. They're like a family to me. And yeah, Kelvin's great.
that's terrific. Tell me the team name again. I was writing it down.
Oh, Team Phase Two. So it's PHAZE 2.
Okay, terrific. Very cool. Sounds like a good coach.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great. He's not like a big name, but I think he will become a big name because he's humble. And like I said earlier, I I'm attracted to humility. Like you have to be humble in this sport because there will always be somebody better than you, and you can't have a bad attitude if you lose. And Kelvin, he is humble enough to like he'll listen to feedback and then he'll apply it. He won't be like, "Oh, I know better because I'm your coach, man." Like, no, he'll be like, "Yeah, give me your suggestions." And I love coaches that I can collaborate with and give that feedback and have them give me feedback. It's like a relationship. It's not just he tells me what to do. I have a say. So,
That's terrific. That's great. Sounds like a really good coach. Yeah. Now, do you have a posing coach too?
nope, I do my own posing.
Oh, do you do your own posing? Oh, very cool. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
oh, go
go ahead.
ahead. No, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say for my posing, I take a less conventional approach. I prefer to because I have a ballet background, so I
Oh,
to bring some of that into my posing. I believe posing should be like it should it should be like traditional dances of like different cultures around the world. So one example is India. I love Indian traditional dance because it showcases the femininity of the woman, but it's not raunchy. It's
mhm.
very classy, very reserved, and the poses can be religious or they can be like fun, but the dances tell a story. And above all, you're emphasizing that reserved feminine beauty that we need to emphasize in physique. So I don't know if the judges are gonna like that, but that's my approach, and I'm gonna try. So
That's awesome. I love Indian music and the dancing is really amazing. It's
oh yeah.
so unique. Yeah, I know what you mean with the feminine aspect of it too. Yeah. I was curious, what would you say is the most challenging aspect of prep for you?
Um, I don't really it's not really a challenge for me, but the thing that's more difficult is actually bulking. I can get lean easily. I just don't eat. It's not hard. And doing the cardio also not hard. I just need to find something to occupy my brain. But eating my food during bulk season, like it can be a chore a little bit because I have to eat almost 3,000 calories. And that's just a lot of food. So, and I'm not really used to eating that much food. I've never eaten that much food in my life. So learning to like time my meals properly and have enough water and I'm just always full and I always need to use the bathroom and that's been an adjustment. But I wouldn't say that like I struggle with it. It's just something new. So
I understand that. Yeah. And you're like you said earlier before we started recording, you're 5'2", so you're kind of a small person too. So
yeah.
yeah, that's a lot of calories, you know.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I for years I kind of had like an eating disorder where I didn't eat carbs. I don't know if that's a disorder, but I just was afraid I would gain weight if I ate carbs. So I'm used to eating like this much food. And so coach was like, "No, you're gonna eat 300 grams of rice per meal." And I was like, "What? That's more than I eat in like 3 days." And he was like, "You're gonna eat it." And I haven't like gotten fat, so clearly it works. So
And that to be more competitive too on the pro stage, you gotta bulk up a little bit for sure. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I know we don't have too much time. We only have about 5 minutes. So, but I think I might be able to get one or two more questions in.
yeah, sure.
I was curious, what advice can you give to ladies who are looking for a good coach?
Ooh, oh, this is a so I would say several things. Number one, do your research. Do your research. Go on Reddit. Reddit's not like the greatest, but like Reddit, there will people who are they will tell you. Like there's subreddits, there's forums, people talk about coaches. Read those forums. Anecdotal evidence is better than no evidence.
Hmm.
Second thing is, sorry,
No
interview
problem.
coach. Like if ask them, hey, can I do an interview with you? Because you don't just want to give them money and then have them ghost you on show day. Like I've heard some horror stories. And I had not a great experience with one of my coaches myself because, I had the ghosting problem. But
Yeah, that's not good.
no, it was very
Yeah.
stressful. Um, but yeah, like interview the coach and then fact check what they say because I've interviewed coaches who have said that women should take certain things and then I go and look at the thing and I'm like, why are you telling people to take this? So
Mhm.
like, fact check them. It's not rude to fact check people. It's
Yeah.
it's your body, it's your health. So like if your coach is telling you something and you're like, listen to that feeling. Um, my third thing is, like I said, listen to your gut. If you don't pick somebody just because they're a big name. We've had some uncoverings of not great coaching from big name coaches recently. Um, and so don't be fooled by, oh, I've turned 55 billion people pro. Sure, okay. But what are you gonna do for me? So there's that. Like don't rely on the person being a name. Um,
Hmm.
and along with doing your research on these coaches, find all of their athletes if you can. Find the ones that are not as strong genetically. And if they still look good, that's a good coach. Because
Mm.
any coach can show their genetic phenomenal people. Like I'm just going to use somebody's example. That doesn't mean that this is happening, but like Keon, if somebody's coaching Keon Prodigy, like of course they're going to look like a good coach because the bro just grows muscle if you look at him. But if the person has an athlete that is not as genetically gifted, like let's say they have lagging legs or whatever, and then you see this person steadily progressing and they look good, that means that that coach knows what to do when things are not optimal.
Mm.
Those are the coaches you want to go with. And sometimes it's not going to be a big name. You have to not care about fame and name. You have to
Hmm.
do what's best for you. And if it's a smaller coach like the one I have, do it because that coach, when you win, the coach will become famous. So
Hmm. That's really good advice, and I appreciate that. And yeah, don't face the don't chase the fame. I think that makes sense. To yeah, you might have a really good coach who's experienced but not as well known, but looks out for your best interest and everything too.
exactly.
Well, we're running into time, so I think we better end it. But we'd I'd love to do part two with you sometime. So I had more questions to ask you, so maybe we could do a part two.
Absolutely. I was going to ask if we could because I know there were some other questions you had that I did want to talk about. So yes, absolutely. I would love to schedule a part two.
Okay, terrific. Yeah, we can do that. Definitely. I'll be in touch and I'll get this posted, like I said, this evening or tomorrow morning, and I'll tag you, of course, too. So but no, it was really nice to speaking with Nicole and best wishes to you in 2025. I'm excited for you.
Thank you. It was nice to meet you and thank you so much for the interview.
You're welcome, and maybe I'll see you in Arizona and yell for you. So we'll see.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole. Take care.
All right. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.